So let's go ahead and take a look at a few of the components of the syllabus first. Pretty standard stuff starting us off. This is my name. This is my email address, alchia@fiu.edu. This is going to be the best way to get in contact with me because this is a fully online course. I do have office hours Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 8 a.m. to 9:30. So if you ever want to meet with me, I am always going to be available during these times throughout the semester. All you need to do is send me an email to say that I want to meet during this time on this day, and I will be available. I'll send you the Zoom link for you to go ahead and click on that, and we can go ahead and do the Zoom conference call through that link. If this time isn't conducive for you, you can go ahead and make an appointment with me. Just go ahead and send me an email, and we'll find a time that is convenient for both you and I, and we'll do the same thing through the Zoom conference call. My office is in DM 307B, so the very ugly building with the sort of hanging gardens in there. So if we're ever allowed on campus ever again, that's exactly where you can go ahead and find me. My teaching assistant and his or her email, you can go ahead and ignore these two rows right here. Due to budget cuts and budget constraints, I am never going to have another TA ever again for the rest of my life. Probably also going to be another reason why I'm going to get fired pretty soon, so that's always fantastic. And like we've already stated before, how to access this class is through Canvas, so canvas.fiu.edu. If you go ahead and email with me, please do use common courtesy when sending emails. Email is considered to be a very professional form of communication, and please include as much relevant information as you can so I can better assist you. Your name, class section, other relevant information would be very helpful. I typically teach 300 to 500 students every single semester, so these pieces of information would be very helpful for me in order to better assist you with any issues or problems you may have. I am pretty good with emails, but do please allow about 48 business hours for a response. I will check my emails periodically Monday through Friday on a 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. basis. So if you email me during these times, you typically will get a response fairly quickly. However, do note that I will not check my emails on the weekends. So if you email me outside of these times or email me on Saturday or Sunday, it typically will take me a little bit longer to get back with you with email. Note that due to FERPA regulations, I cannot answer emails directly relating to your grades, exam scores, or anything of the like. You will have to go ahead and make an appointment with me so we can talk about that through Zoom conference calls. The textbook for this course is by Eric Chang, no relation to this guy right here. We just happen to have the same last name. It's spelled the same exact way for some strange reason. But it's going to be Macro and Microeconomics, Principles for a Changing World. So here, this is going to be the Macroeconomics book. This is going to be the Microeconomics book. Looks very, very similar to one another. And it's going to be the 5th edition for each of these courses. You're going to notice that this little blurb right here, that this textbook is not required for the course, but is highly recommended as a supplement to your studies. So it is one of my basic tenets as a professor that I should not be increasing the cost for any of my students. Because let's go ahead and face it, college tuition is expensive, textbooks are expensive, you're already paying additional fees because this is an online class. There are just a lot of ridiculous fees for you going ahead and trying to get some type of education. So I want to keep that cost as low as possible as I can for you guys. So do you need this textbook for the course? And the answer is no. You can absolutely go ahead and pass this course without buying this textbook as long as you do what is expected of you. You watch the lecture videos, you take notes, you do the practice problems, you do the assignments, you ask questions when you need some type of clarification. If you do all these sort of things, then you don't need this textbook. You can go ahead and say, hey, I don't need to go ahead and spend the $200 for a textbook. I can get all the information I need from Canvas. However, if you are the student that needs a textbook to study from, if you do need a little bit more information regarding a little bit of a topic, if you happen to miss a particular class or can't watch a video because of some type of restrictions, then I would go ahead and suggest that you get the textbook because a lot of the lectures are going to be based off of the textbook itself. So the main reason why I sort of chose this book all over the sort of standard economics textbooks is because this is actually the cheapest textbook that I could find that the publishers actually give me a choice of choosing from. So if you are smart about buying the textbook, if you want to go ahead and go down that route, you can go ahead and buy this textbook right here for about $150 new. The other textbooks that are typically used, the Mankiw textbook, the Hubbard textbook, or the Krugman textbook, those typically will run you about $200 to $300 new for the hard book versions. So I just want to go ahead and make that sort of clear to you that you don't need to spend this type of money in order to do well in the class. However, if you do need the textbook, you don't need to buy new, you don't need to buy hardcover, you can buy the e-text, you can go ahead and rent the textbook. The third or fourth editions of this book actually work out very, very well. The last time I checked on Amazon, you can actually rent the third edition for about 20 bucks. You can buy it for about 30 bucks. So here, any way that you can go ahead and lower your cost, I am perfectly fine with. But as we said before, this textbook is not required, it is only recommended. And if you happen to go ahead and want to go ahead and buy the textbook for future reference, you don't need to purchase any online access codes or materials as well. If you've ever had to deal with my Econ Lab, Launchpad, my Math Lab, any of those online sort of learning tools, you'll know exactly what type of BS they are and exactly what a pain in the ass they are to work. And I really don't want you guys dealing with that type of BS. So here, that's essentially my little blurb about the textbook itself. Next, we go ahead and take a look at the course description and learning objectives. Basically, in macroeconomics, we tackle macroeconomic topics and concepts. In microeconomics, we tackle the microeconomics sort of deals in there. So you're going to learn about the differences between macro and microeconomics in the first chapter. But essentially, there are two different courses, and we learn two different sort of techniques, and we have different objectives for each of them. You guys can go ahead and take a look at that in your own sort of specific classes. The course format, so how exactly is this class going to be formatted? This is an online class, but I will want to keep you on a regular schedule. So there is a schedule at the end of the syllabus that we're going to go ahead and take a look at with strict deadlines for assignments and exams. So basically, I do not want you guys holding everything off until the very last moment to the end of the semester. We will keep on a very brisk and robust schedule with strict deadlines and assignments, strict deadlines for the assignments and exams. The videos on Canvas will provide the vast majority of information and are designed to capture the typical classroom environment. They continue analysis of the topics of each chapter, worked out problems and examples to tie everything together. And I would highly advise you to go ahead and keep up with the listed schedule. If you leave everything until the day before the deadline or the day before everything is due, it is a recipe for disaster and failure. So keeping on a very regular schedule, having a routine for this class, doing exactly what the schedule is going to show you is going to be a very good idea for this class, because there are a lot of topics, concepts, and examples that we do need to get through. And basically, you are going to overwhelm yourself if you leave everything until the last minute. In order for you to succeed in this course, there are plenty of resources for you to utilize. The textbook is the primary source, but you don't need the textbook if you go ahead and follow along with the lecture videos. Reading, understanding, and practicing the problems from the text are necessary to answer all the questions on the assignment and exam questions. So basically, economics is going to be a very sort of applied type of subject. The more practice that you get with the problems, the more exposure that you have, the better you will do on the homework and on the exam questions. There are videos, as you've already seen, lecture slides, notes, solved problem sets for you to download. So I do give you enough resources to do the very best that you can in this class. And like we said, important announcements are going to be accompanied by either a Canvas announcement or an email from me. So you are expected to check Canvas on a regular basis. I would say at least once per day to see if there's any new information for the class. This is a tentative course outline. There are 16 weeks within the course. There are 16 chapters within the book. And typically, we would get through all 16 chapters because this is an online class, but I do tend to slow it down just a little bit so you get that little bit of respite. We will go through 13 of these chapters right here, and we pretty much will go through about a chapter a week. We tend to go a little bit faster through the first 4 chapters because this is something that we see in both macro and microeconomics, but we tend to slow it down just a little bit when we hit the later chapters, get a little bit more into detail with chapters 5 through 13. Chapter 14 through 16, a little bit more of special topics, so if you're interested in that type of stuff, you can go ahead and reach out with me, and I'll go ahead and give you those sort of resources. So basically, this is the idea of the class, how it's structured, what you should be learning throughout the semester, and exactly how to get in touch with me, how to communicate with me. In the next video, we'll go ahead and take a look at grades, basically how am I going to be grading with you, and what the assignments and exams are going to go ahead and look like.